All right, AP World people, let's keep moving on. What's Southeast Asia doing in the 1200s to 1500s? We're going to talk about a lot of different civilizations and cultures here, but I always like to start off with some memes. What? Those are called Watts. That's kind of funny. The challenges of being a Hindu god. You got so many arms, it's a lot. I am not single, I'm practicing non attachment. There you go, that's the Buddhist way. So, Southeast Asia, let's jump into it. I gotta click the button. Here we go. So here are my starting questions. Why is religion present in every organized human society? You're never going to find the tribe of atheists anywhere in the world. What do you think happens when we die? That's a deep kind of religious question there. And in your opinion, what is the meaning of life? These are questions that I deep dived into in my religion unit earlier. Let's see what people think. Okay, now the Khmer Empire. This one is a big deal. I've read a lot of stuff in AP World about this. They really love showing off the Khmer Empire. It's in modern day Cambodia, and it's a very impressive Hindu empire. And they had this really cool city called Angkor Wat. And I was supposed to go there with my sister 2 years ago, but she bailed on me, and she went by herself. Stupid sister. Anyway, it's the largest city in the world in the year 1200, and it originally was a Hindu city, a Hindu empire, but in the end, what happened was Buddhists started moving in, and it created all this crazy religious tension in the city. Also, they got attacked by some people from Cambodia, and there was also an environmental collapse because they overused the environmental resources in the Khmer Empire, and it functionally failed. And there's a really good extra credits video series that I'm going to assign about this, and it'll all be on the next test. So definitely learn some more about Angkor Wat, but the big deal information is on this slide, and it's a super cool culture of the past, and I would love to check it out myself. So it's Angkor Wat. Boom, boom, ba boom. Okay, and then let's now talk about the Hindu world. So the Hindu world is traditionally just India. But during this time, there were obviously Hindus in the Angkor kingdom, and there was a bunch of Hindus around Indonesia. So the Hindu faith was kind of spreading all over southern Asia. But that's now starting to change because Islam and Buddhism are starting to get in the game too. And the Bhakti movement was where Hindus attempted to reform their religion. It was sort of this intellectual thing where it's like, which gods are the important gods? What should all Hindus believe? This religion needs to get organized. And it created the Vedas, Hindu holy books. I think I talked about those in my religion unit as well. But another thing that came out of the Bhakti movement was the creation of the Sikh religion. Sikhs are super cool people. I got some pictures of them in the southern left part of the screen here. And the Sikh faith blends themes of Hinduism and Islam. It's definitely its own religion, but it has an interesting blending of the two. And this is a great comparison point with the Christian Reformation. I'll talk about the Reformation later, but it's cool that the Hindu faith reformed and kind of adapted to other cultures around it, and the Christian faith is going to do the same thing later in history. All right, here's some empires you got to know in India. I'm totally going to say this wrong. Vijayanagara Empire was a Hindu empire in southern India, very wealthy, multicultural. They got attacked by Muslims, they got wiped out. The Rajput kingdoms were these Hindu kingdoms that fought Muslim invaders. They would eventually have an uneasy peace with Muslims, and they allowed India to be Hindu. It should have been on there. Let India to be Hindu. Really, for so much of history, you're going to see this, that India is trying to just do its Hindu thing, and Muslim people are going to attack it, and it's going to make India kind of a mess. This happens repeatedly during this whole time period of history we're studying in this course. Now let's talk about Indonesia. As I said before, Indonesia was super Hindu for a while, but then it becomes Buddhist, but then it becomes Muslim. So the islands of Indonesia are just going through the whole wave of religions. And this is where I'll bring up this concept of Sufism, also called tasawwuf. And Sufism isn't something you'll only find in Indonesia, But Sufis were these special groups of Muslims who really went out of their way to spread the Muslim faith around Asia. And it's definitely a unique version of the Islamic faith because it incorporates a lot of Persian traditions. You'll see a bunch of people dancing, a bunch of like mystic kind of stuff where they'll like try to communicate with the spirit gods, but they're still Muslims, so they're kind of their own thing. But they definitely spread the Islamic faith all over Asia, and eventually they're kind of step one into what will become the Islamic country of Indonesia. Now let's talk about some other parts of Indonesia. See, I'm going to say all these names wrong. The Sriwijaya, wow, that's terrible, Empire, and Majapahit. Majapahit was, I'm pretty sure, was the name of the king. But anyway, it's also the name of his empire. And it was a Buddhist empire that traded with India and China. They definitely kept some of their Hindu traditions. So it was kind of a merge between Hindu and Buddhist stuff. And you'd especially see this cultural convergence today on the island of Bali. Bali is a big kind of resort island. I've had a whole bunch of friends who've gone to Bali and had epic parties there. I've always wanted to go. I'm losing the game. But Bali really had this idea of like, we're going to merge Hinduism and Buddhism together. And you'd see a lot of that in Southeast Asia at this time. But overall, they were really open to religious practices. Like, I think that this is one of the few places in the world at this time where you could really like be like, what up, I'm a Muslim. Hey, we won't kill you. What up, I'm a Christian. Hey, we won't kill you. Like, they were the Indonesian area, and really so much of Southern Asia, there were so many religions mixing and matching all the time that for the most part, they just had to get along. So there you go. Indonesia. Hey. All right, more stuff about Buddhism. So Buddhist monasticism took a big deal during this time, and it was a big part of the culture of many Southeast Asian countries, especially Thailand. I've been to Thailand. I've seen this stuff with my own eyes. It's pretty cool. I think in Thailand, like 20% of men are expected to serve as full-time monks for like 10 years or more of their lives. And I made some friends in Thailand. And right now they're like posting pictures on Facebook. They're like, what up? I'm a monk. I'm like, hey, get it. But anyway, so monasticism is where you serve some or your entire life focused on meditation and prayer, trying to achieve nirvana for the Buddhist faith. Especially in Thailand, as I said, Myanmar, and Tibet. Tibet, I think like 50% of men are monks. It's so many. And another country you should know, Sukhothai Kingdom. It's, Sukhothai, Thailand. Hey, get it? They broke away from the Khmer Empire, and they made the hardcore Buddhism that they know and love to this day. The Sukhothai, they generally didn't get along with their neighbors. I remember talking to my friends in Thailand, and they just hate the country of Myanmar. Like, they just talk mad crap about Myanmar. And weirdly enough, they're both like pretty hardcore Buddhist countries. They just still aren't cool with each other. You could deep dive into that history and figure out why later. The Sinhala Kingdom is in modern-day Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is that island south of India. And you would think that being that close to India, there'd be a whole bunch of Hindus there. But Sri Lanka was like, nope, we're Buddhist. And we're super-duper Buddhist. And multiple times throughout history, Hindu countries are going to be like, whoa, Sinhala, Sri Lanka, we're taking you over. They even called the island Celion for a while. That's also random. So, but nope, the people of Sri Lanka, they kept up their Buddhism stuff, and they're still a Buddhist country to this day. So, ba-bam. Okay, this, I don't know if I covered this in my religion unit, but I'll absolutely cover it now. There are three main schools of Buddhism. There's Theravada Buddhism. It's kind of the old school Buddhism. The Mahayana Buddhism, the new Buddhism, and the Vajrayana Buddhism. I've said all those words wrong, I'm sure of it. But let me explain what these are really about. So Theravada Buddhism is the kind of Buddhism that I've seen a lot of experience with in my own life. I did this kind of big tour of Buddhist temples in Thailand, and Theravada Buddhism is probably what most people think of if Buddhism comes into their mind. And it's Theravada really doesn't like women. Okay, I remember talking to a monk, and he was like, "Yeah, women can't achieve enlightenment." I'm like, "Dang, that sucks." Um, and it really says all men must commit part of their lives or all their lives to full-time prayer and asceticism. You build temples everywhere. Like in Thailand, there's seriously a Buddhist temple, as many Buddhist temples as there are Starbucks in the United States. But now let's talk about Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism, I saw some of this in Korea. I even dated a Korean girl who was a Mahayana Buddhist. And people are like sort of like halfway into Buddhism, okay? It's like live your life, be Buddhist like once a month. People should pray sometimes. It's more about the morals than the full time prayer, significantly less intense. It's sort of like the way, maybe you could compare it to Christianity like this. Like Theravada Buddhism is like hardcore Catholic Christians, and Mahayana Buddhism is like Protestant Christians. They're kind of like, we're gonna like halfway be into Jesus, and that's the same vibe. But then you've got the Vajrayana Buddhists. These people believe that you've got to be the presence of Buddha living in you at all times. You'll pretty much only find this in Tibet. I think you'll find it like in small doses in some other places around the world too. But it's a very ritualistic society. Society's super serious about religion. Like 50% of the people are full-time monks. Like you're probably not going to be cool with technology. You're basically like the Amish of Buddhists if you're in the V category. So let's check it out. Oh yeah, I've got this little graph right here. So it shows you that the V Buddhists are really not very common. There's a very small number of them in the world today, and most Buddhists are kind of like, you know, these halfway, like sort of halfway into it kind of Buddhists. So, ba-bam. All right, and then this will be my next part. So peace out.